the Knights, they're up next. They're going to look to crack their own rhythm here in Stage 2, Dev, because of course that's who they're up against. Sorry, I can't help it. It's all Knights taking on Rhythm for our next matchup. This one should be a little bit more of a clear-cut idea of where we think the scoreline will go, but it's OCN, it's 2021, it's Siege, you just never know.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but we've seen that Knights are not infallible, and Rhythm are not to be underestimated. Rhythm have had some pretty strong results. Last stage, they took down Order, Wildcard, even the Chiefs, and while they did lose to Knights, it was a close 5-7 game. And of course, Knights ended up not actually taking the OCN championship that we expected from them. They were taken down by the Chiefs. But let's talk about Rhythm here. This is the team that was actually, funnily enough, relegated out of OCN. At the end of last year, they unfortunately were knocked out by Rafflecopter, but due to the ex-Noble, the Melon Cat roster disbanding, these guys were kind of gifted a second chance. And I think that they've shown that they kind of deserve it. They have been playing really, really well. Is that cool? I just love that these players have taken the opportunity we've given with the webcams and just embraced it.
Well, Ghoul, love the fact he's lifted some weights, but Leb looks like he's about to drop some beats. I can't even see Novaics. I think, honestly, I'm going to go there and just shine my torch on them. I need to see a little bit more than just emptiness and darkness behind you, but well, we can put that behind us because we're going to have a look at the Knights lineup, the roster that impressed at the start of 2021. Not so much in OCN though, Dev.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Knights had a rough start to OCN while doing really well in APAC South, but come the end of the OCN regular season, these guys were on top, and as a result, they were first seed going into the playoffs, and the playoffs we had that gauntlet format, which is a really big deal because it means Knights auto-seeded into the grand final, but they lost that to the Chiefs, and that was a pretty big slap in the face. Afterwards, though, fortunately, Knights managed to go into the APAC playoffs as second seed from APAC South, and they came first. They did the best that they could, and look at them. They're lively right now. They're having a good time. And look, these are one of the most dangerous OCN, or OS teams, full stop. Right? Yeah. If you're going to make a short list of which is the OS team that's probably going to go deepest at APAC or international events, you're probably going to be looking at Knights.
Yep, and it would be a fair assumption. From everything we've seen, their performance last night, 7-5 against Elevate, I think it was, I can't even remember now, but yeah, it was, yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't absolutely tripping out there, but certainly they have had quite a dominant start to Stage 2, and if you're Rhythm, you would be shaking in your boots, but I will say this, the other team who were up and about before their matchup were both Rafflecopter and Order, and look how those games ended, Dev. Look how they ended. You tell me that there's a trend going on here.
Yeah, well, of course, we haven't actually seen, what will happen in this game, but maybe it will be a 3-for-3. We have had one upset so far tonight. It has been a pretty cut and dried night in terms of our predictions, but the results haven't necessarily been consistent. With that first game going the other direction. But looking at Knights now, they haven't made any roster changes. While they did pick up Sketchy recently, wasn't super recent. He's been their analyst. He came from the ex-Noble roster, the Melon Cat guys. And I've heard so many positive things about him. So really nice to see him jumping on board with the team. And Knights are in top form. They destroyed Fnatic in the APAC playoffs, which I think a lot of people kind of forget, right? Fnatic gets a lot of hype. APAC North gets a lot of hype, but APAC South teams go really, really deep. Knights took down Fnatic. They took down Guts 7-1. They took down Mercenaries in the APAC playoffs, and even took down Elevate in APAC South last night, who were the APAC champions of Stage 1. They won the stage championship over Cloud9. So Knights are, arguably one of the best teams in APAC right now. We just haven't seen enough matches in Stage 2 for them to prove that yet. But if they're one of the best in APAC, surely they're one of the best in OCN.
You would have to hope so. So let's have a look at the veto and determine whether it's going to lean favorably toward them or Rhythm. we head to Clubhouse, just an OCE favourite, just in case you didn't know this. Now, Dev, I know you've got the stats up in front of you. I'm looking at them right now. This does not look all that good for Rhythm.
Yeah, for Rhythm, the victory that they have had on Clubhouse was LFO, but that was way back in September last year, right? In the previous season at OCN. In terms of recent results, they only played it once in Stage 1, and that was against Bliss, and they did lose it 6-8. Pretty good scoreline, though, against a team like Bliss. That said, Rhythm tend to be that team that just always goes to overtime and loses. That is their curse. How many games did they play last season where they went to OT and lost it? And as we look onto the Knights side, they have a 3-2 ratio of wins and losses, and some of those wins include such dominant scorelines as a 7-1 over Guts Gaming, the Japanese team in the APAC playoffs. That is a really big result. So I'm definitely going to be putting a lot of faith in Knights here, especially considering their hot form from last night. So you would expect them to deliver.
You would hope so. You would want them to, because right now they really are the team that we're expecting to be the best challenger for the Chiefs, the best challenger for Elevate in APAC South, and maybe the best challenger for international events to represent APAC. It sounds absurd to say that out loud, but it really is true. They are a team and a roster that have just done so much damage, and well, it kickstarts their campaign for Stage 2. They've already gotten off on the right foot of APAC South. They need to do so here. But Rhythm are no slouches. They will certainly make you work for it, and they will make you go the distance. So whether Rhythm will push to OT tonight, I think that's the real mystery for me, Dev.
Well, that's the thing. Last stage, Rhythm were so hot, even in the games that they lost. There was only one match that they played that didn't at least go to the full 12 rounds or overtime. Every other game was very, very tight. Now, they're going to ban that Hibana, which kind of brings impact tricking back into the realm of possibility here on Clubhouse. Is it going to be a Thatcher or a Maverick? Okay, Maverick out, so Thatcher stays in. And so you're going to likely be seeing Thatcher Thermite Ace comboed every single round here, just to make sure you can achieve all the hard breach that you'd need.
Yep. They're actually surprisingly not a more favored ban here on Clubhouse. Oh, hang on, we're still looking at that. I just went on a spin, on a tear, Deb. I'm telling you right now. That makes 1,000,000,000% more. Oh my God.
It's funny that Mira's not in the top 5 banned attackers. That's really...
I honestly, Dev,
I'm going to throw you straight onto that bus, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're going to throw people under buses now, are we?
Yeah.
Xenox, is that you? I didn't realize I was casting with Jake. The SI remote caster. I forgot.
You threw yourself under the bus, so I just had to jump on it as well. But, here in OCN, we let loose a little bit. This isn't some super formal broadcast. We're out here to have a yarn about some Rainbow Six and have a good time. And, the players are the same. They're looking to win, but...
Are they?
Wait a second. Look at Novakes. I think he's got a little bit of a gift for you there, Rob. Look at his name. You see the change in the spelling? Novakes.
He's now no longer Nova 9. He is no longer Nova 9. Now, Dev, just mentioning back to you throwing me under the bus, you said you were going to jump on the bus. Well, I'm afraid that you would only add 5 kilos to it, you scrawny little stick. Now, one thing that we can look to dive into a little bit more is our wonderful sponsors of Samsung. They are incredible to have on board, honestly. Someone that we've been chasing and hunting for so long. And we would like to really thank them and welcome them as our presenting partners. You can check out their latest range of NVMe SSDs by simply typing !SSD in the Twitch chat. So go ahead, type it in and check it all out. I'm sure that it will upgrade your game, no doubt.
I love me an NVMe SSD. M.2 connections, get that super, super fast memory so that you can load into Siege in absolutely no time. Also, just will say, Samsung have been trying to work with us for a really long time, and I'm so glad we finally got it across the line as presenting partner. Really massive shout out to those guys. Might actually get myself another SSD. I've got too many spreadsheets on my current one. It just fills up so quick.
Literally, it just takes you half an hour to do anything because you've got so many. But Oh, goodness me. Let's hone in on this game, shall we? Minute in and around, and Knights are really starting to get a move on with what they're looking to do. In fact, this is really quick timing, 2 minutes, and they have so much time to work with to start to maybe displace some of these Rhythm members.
Attackers have located
Yeah, well, it's a full anchor strategy here for Rhythm. See all 5 players on site. Ghoul to hold blue. And of course, it does put the onus on Knights. Like you said, good time management, but it does come down to opening up this hatch, which, like we said, with the Hibana ban is no simple feat. In fact, it looks like it's going to be a church take, so actually not going to get the kitchen hatch open. Instead, using the EMP to make sure that this church breach goes off. Impact Trick misses. That's critical from BB. Newest player to join Rhythm, but unfortunately a critical mistake does leave a gaping hole in that bomb site.
Bomb located by attackers.
Certainly going to put a little bit of pressure on 2 different points here, Moto being really the main contest. You can see Drex tried to get out and into the open. I love this from Dino. That now makes it a little bit more of a possible rotation if they need to. BB, you spoke his name, and he steps up at a moment of need. He equals out the odds here, Dev.
But Knights start to close their fist into a lethal punch. But that said, Rhythm managed to keep the pace. Tip for tat. Oh, and really just forcing Knights back. Hayward is going to get the res here, bring Juicy back into the fold, but Novaic does move forward, trade it out. 2v2 now.
Watching that tight line. I know, unfortunately, not connecting that shot. 15 seconds. Juicy's going to get in early. There's still a C4 on Ghoul, but is he in position to try to deny this? No, they haven't prepped it. And so it's going to go down scot-free. Dino holds perfectly and Leb falls. It's all onto Ghoul here, Dev. Does he have what it takes?
I sure hope he's been practicing his siege as much as he's been doing his weights. He's going to have to isolate these 2 1v1s. Gets the first on for the trade. Dino locks that down. And that is nice to start strong. A 1v1 to win the game, or round, rather.
Win the game! Unbelievable.
Imagine that, best of 1 round.
Imagine that. Imagine we're almost done by 10 o'clock. Oh my goodness, let's just dust it off.
You have
It's
just jinxed
over.
it, my dude. You have just
Oh no. No. Juicy's just playing with us. He's just playing with our hearts. Our little heart tickers, Dev. Fortunately enough, it's not for the game. It is, of course, just for round number 1, but certainly a round that could have gone Rhythm's way. You know, you look at so many pivotal moments in that round itself, a couple of trades that could have gone the way of Rhythm, and that big C4. If Ghoul had been able to pre-prep a bit of a projectile hole, if you will. I don't even know what I'm going to call that. But if he, well, it does, doesn't it? Maybe not the best way of putting it. But if there was already a pre-placed hole for him to actually go and yeet that C4, maybe they would have had a little more success. But it feels like they have a good idea as to what they're going to have to do to fix things up here.
I think the word, or the phrase you're looking for was pre-placed projectile pathway. Try saying that 10 times faster.
I wouldn't even try saying it slow, to be honest. That just sounds like the worst thing you've ever said.
Well, Rhythm are not going to rest on their laurels here after losing just narrowly that first round. They will change up their strategy straight up. Looking at the operator lineup, not a single player is on the same operator they were on last round. Now, we still have the Wamai in them. They have persisted, but on different people. And, you know, Leb's bringing the Mozzie now, Drex on the smoke, and BB pivotally on that castle. These are the really important operators, you know, your Mute Mozzie castle, the staples of the SSG roam. As it has, I mean, at this point, it's not even really just SSG roam. You know, it's been kind of one of the really viable strategies here on Clubhouse Basement since 2019, maybe late 20... Yeah, it was late 2019. This kind of was popularized by SSG, of course. And at the time, they were the best team in the world. And I like this heavy roam kind of adaptation. But Knights are a very experienced, very competent team. They know exactly what to do to deal with this.
Certainly do. And you know, I'm just going to say it. I think that SSG Roam is the #1 phrase that has been used on Clubhouse ever since I started commentating. I do not think I've heard a phrase being said more than that. And with that
loves
rhythm,
them.
look, sure, whatever you want to
SSG
shoot
Roam.
for, we'll go for that, Dev. We'll say that. It's certainly it's become almost a trigger word, you know? It's just, I hear it every single time Clubhouse is played, but it looks like Rhythm have cut their losses and dropped back to side.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing with the SSG roam, is you don't have to commit to it. You can just push back onto the site and waste time. Thing is, like, Knights have only used half the round. They have full map control. And when Rhythm have invested a significant amount of their utility onto that roam and they give it up without a pick, without wasting that much time, I call this a Knights win. Obviously not the round, but like Knights have won this kind of mid-game, early round so far. And you know, you look at like opening the hatches. It's just such good time management here for Knights.
Yeah. A little less than what they had to play with before, but definitely a little bit more of a different approach. And Rhythm now bunkering down. I mean, you really can't be affording to miss your things like the impact tricks, especially with the fact that Thatcher. Oh, sorry. My goodness, I am absolutely tripping out right now. Thermite, there we go, has no more charges left. It's all on the Dino to open up this wall. There we go. Bang, just like that, Dev.
Yeah, good job so far in denying that hard breach. Does leave Dino with no more Selmas and Juicy with no more exothermic charges. With 20 seconds left, things are going to heat up exponentially here, and Drex is the perfect operator as this bottleneck is going to present a serious problem for
15
Knights.
seconds left.
The choke point should work a treat, but Juicy just negates it altogether. He's going to go and stick it behind any kind of support he can find.
Jeez!
What? Hang on. Huh? What? Dev?
I need to I'm literally, like, we're probably going to get some replays in a second, but I'm going to rewatch that on my clean feed right now because that was over so quickly. The double push in through Moto in the church, and then we just saw the Thermite player Juicy go straight for that plan spot. Meanwhile, it was just like a send up. Sage found 2 picks apparently. I mean, it's so hard to kind of see everything that was going on, right? But Hayward pushing up long from bot main, and Sage found 2. I think that Sage was pushing from blue. It was just a complete collapse.
Defenders, protect your
Really
bombs
amazing
being defused
from
by
Knights
attackers.
that, what, with 11 seconds left on the clock, they can go from having no picks and a bottleneck presented to them to a really convincing round win in what was, I think, a 4v0 at the end of it.
That's how you win a round.
Just send it.
Just send it.
It's cold.
You just,
Still gonna send it.
Honestly, to be fair, I think my eyes were not dotting up with what was happening. I thought that it was Rhythm that were winning the fights, but it was very clearly Knights that were coming up in the score. It completely bamboozled me, and everything happened so quickly.
When it's a 5v5 with 11 seconds to go, that's just how it be, man. I mean, you could watch 100 hours of Siege in a week and still be as confused as to what just happened. But with that, Rhythm 2 back-to-back losses on Church Arsenal, I think it's time to give another site a shot, and that they do here. Cash CCTV. And on for the Bandit trick as well.
Drex is actually one of the more confident players that we've seen on the Bandit tricking in stage 1, that's for sure. I feel like it's nowhere near as common as what we used to see at Dev. It really used to be quite a large talking point, especially on Clubhouse with how impactful these kennel walls are. Dino now going to be opening up some pretty important lines, all things considered, down in Garage.
This Bandit trick's going to be perfect. Oh, see you later, exothermic charge. Really need those concussions to land and deny this. Josh only has 1 concussion left. This little mini game here is very difficult to pull off. Drex still has a battery, but the nade flushes him out. It's too late for him to really try and... Oh, he actually might be able to land it! Oh, balls of steel! Drex And he lands the bandit juggle once again. Knights, what are you going to do about that?
I'm telling you, Drex is one of the most unreal bandit trickers that I've seen. And that is the perfect case to show you why. They now cannot open kennels from what I'm aware of. Dino might have one more Selma charge left. No, he's got none, so kennels is just not open. There's no way about it. They now have to look to try and flush out the players either in garage or over into construction.
Oh my God,
and
what?
Josh, what on earth is that? You're on another level. What is Knights doing?
It doesn't matter if you don't get a breach. They showed it last round. Josh just goes big. 2 kills already. Suddenly it's a 5v2 and it doesn't matter. The Knights don't have a breach when they have such an advantage, but Drex has already done some good work. He's the last man left though. It's going to have to be an ace to try and hold on for Rhythm. Not going to happen. What a round for the Knights.
Oh, that's a yikes, my goodness. These guys are just they're on a death path right now. I honest to God think that they're just kicking butts and taking names. Started out that way in APAC South, and just look at how serious they are in that small little moment. Now, I like this from Nova Yix on the Clash.
You're really going to do him like that? Like, it's because everyone pronounces his name differently, right? Like, we are constantly having a battle with the players about pronunciations, and it doesn't help that they keep telling us the wrong damn things. But Novaix is trying to be nice. He's trying to make it as phonetic as possible in its spelling. Novaix.
Or
come on, Rob.
Nova Yix.
You know that Friends meme with Phoebe and Joey? It's like, Novaix.
Yeah, no, I
don't
know exactly.
Oh. Novaix. Let me
Yes,
hear.
Novaix.
Yes.
Nova Yix.
No. Okay, we're gonna do this. Rob, ready? No.
No.
They.
Yix.
Novaix.
Nova Yix.
Oh my God!
At least it's better than Nova 9. Oh, we love you, Novaix. We love you.
Well,
not many jobs you can get paid to scream out someone's name, can you?
Very fortunate to be able to meme live on broadcast. It's a privilege I will never take for granted.
No. Certainly not. I mean, the point is still valid. That Novaix is now jumping onto that Clash, and I am always intrigued.
Analysis.
Yeah. You know, the game that we're watching right now. Look, to be honest, it may slow down some of these choke point rushes that Knights have been throwing at Rhythm. I mean, you think about it, it's been multiple occasions now where Knights have actually sent it and just been able to find very quick kills. They haven't even been trades. That's the most absurd part. They've just been straight up kills. So I think that the Clash may negate a little bit of that aggression and slow Knights down, but I would dare say that they have something up their sleeve for that.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Rhythm, despite them being 0-3 right now on the scoreboard, they have kind of won some of the minigames so far. I would say they lost their SSG roam minigame, falling back early with no pick. I don't think that was worth it, but last round, like, the bandit juggle was insane from Drex. Really, really impressive, and also Knights didn't really kind of like win the... I mean, they kind of won the Rafters minigame just by finding the pick, but Knights, despite losing some of these minigames, they show that they always can step up and do something pretty nuts. That's just the EMP, and it's a breach rush, go!
Yeah, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. Lev's been able to hold one, but look at the quick trades that are coming out. Sage has been downed, and that may well just stunt them for a second here, Dev. It'll allow us to catch our breath, but Rhythm have been able to hold it off for now.
The res comes through as well, so Sage is still alive, 4v3. One of those defenders doesn't have a gun, the concussions come through, but on the back of that they don't manage to kill Novaix, but the Clash is the only one left standing, SMG in hand. Gonna take the second fight here, already got the down. There's 3 players still to cover as the diffuser goes down, bit of spray damage onto Josh, but Novaix has so much left to do. Great pre-fire, Dino's there for the frag, and Knights have found 4 attack rounds straight on Clubhouse.
I mean, we set that whole round up for Rhythm to have brought this adaptation that was going to slow down these sends that Knights have just been pushing their way, and Knights just completely run in the opposite direction, straight into Jim. I really love that call from Knights. Whether they had intel on site or not, I'd be super curious to see, but from everything that we can see there, you would have to assume that they did, because they were just sending it right in. They weren't even worried about Stairs holding a line, so there was definitely a lot of intel that was being thrown the way of Knights that they utilized. And yeah, no matter what adaptation Rhythm are trying to bring, they're just being... They're counter, like every counter that they're bringing, they're being countered for it. So this is outrageous.
It's Knights coming in with a bit of a vengeance. They did have a great run through APAC South and the APAC playoffs, but still not as good as they wanted. Like they had their sights set on being first place in APAC South, which would have not only guaranteed them SI points, but would have given them the opportunity to become the stage champion and take on Cloud9. Unfortunately, they lost out to Elevate, so missed that chance. But going into OCN, the grand final, of course, they lost that to the Chiefs, despite having the bye all the way to that grand final being first seed. So while Knights have done a great job within APAC, they're still not proven in OCN. They are not the reigning champions, that is the Chiefs. But Knights are just looking... It's hard to say that Knights are not looking like the best team in OCN, even when you've got the Chiefs there as a comparison. So I think that if Knights can keep up this form, they might actually steal that championship away in Stage 2.
I mean, everything that they've shown, certainly so. There'd be no... If they did it, there'd be no questions asked. Not even a single doubt in anyone's mind. And look at this from Knights. Like, the second they know that there is no roam from Rhythm, they are instantly on top of them and ensuring that they lock them in. There is no real room for them to move. However, at least Drex finds an opening. There's Josh that goes down. That's the Zofia, so no utility used there.
A very early loss. That said, we have seen opening picks from Rhythm that haven't... Oh, okay. Was that the Electroclaw? Just a mistime from the Knights side, unfortunately, meant that that was destroyed on the thermite charge. I guess the second one comes through, fortunately. Well, one point I was going to make is that every time Rhythm's found the opening pick, Knights actually traded it back. That trend has been broken here.
Very true. So trying to figure out how they want to anchor on side here, it seems. Ace decides to pull that shield back a little bit further than... Oh, Hayward, that would have been cheeky. About a second earlier, maybe two, and you might have found at the very least some damage, but once more, he will just go to town on this. But BB steps up for Rhythm, sorry. And he is all the way up on that top floor. What?
Oh, what a... I mean, was he always here or did he retake? I mean, he must have managed to sneak up when no one was watching. Knights have had some critical mistakes here. They always tend to win the rounds at the end of it, but can't understate their mistakes. Drex has found one. Sneaky attempt from Hayward. Now things get desperate for the Knights. They have a bit of a breach. They're aware of the flank, but they have to try and push on through with BB above. It's not going to happen. Even the trade is a bit difficult. Dino can take out Noveix on site, but in a 1v4 now, it's not going to happen. And Rhythm finally have some form of response.
Better than nothing. And they will certainly walk away with a much-needed round. Of course, they know themselves that the job is nowhere near done. It's... You know, you may have won the battle, but at the moment you are losing that war. And a war against a team that will just run across you with no hesitations. So you need to take every little chance that you get and just turn it into a blossoming flower. We are going to go back to gym and bedroom and hopefully see a little bit more success with this clash.
Yeah, it's really hard here for Rhythm because even though they have found their first round here and it worked well and Knights are making some mistakes and giving openings for Rhythm, just the fact that Knights has found 4 rounds here on their attack just puts them in such a strong position. Like, if you find 2 or 3 rounds on your attack, you'd be pretty satisfied on Clubhouse that you could at least push overtime in your defense and probably even close out. But 4 on a defense-sided map, as most maps are, is just such an extensive lead for Knights that it's really going to punish Rhythm in the second half. We already saw that once today, right? I mean, it's a bit of an extraordinary example, but LFO Rufflecopter, LFO 6-0 up in the first half. Even though Rufflecopter mounted a comeback and won 3 defenses, like, you have 1 slip up and suddenly you lose the game. Or in this case, you know, even if Rhythm can have a 4-2 half here, it's going to be very challenging, as Knights will only have to win 2 defenses to guarantee overtime.
Many, many issues and concerns around the current state that we find Rhythm in. But they are a team that dig deep. You know, you can never knock them for that. I think last season they were in almost 4 overtime situations. They're always pushing teams to their absolute limits. And it really will just be how well, really how good their mental state is at this point, because they need to not become at all discouraged by what has been a night stomp, all things considered. They have really just been showing some really good signs.
Not a breach rush this time around. Knights are a team with a lot of depth though, so I'm sure they'll have another strategy prepared. Really good use of the Selma there is going to expose the really valuable position in washrooms, in the bathroom. The Knights are starting to put some serious pressure onto this bomb site. While they haven't taken cache control yet, a lot of teams will just go for cache control first and then look to take site because it gives you access to construction. And that is instead now the second step for Knights, now that they have the Jacuzzi breach open.
And still with 1:20 left on the clock, this is great time management. BB, the elusive roamer, apparently is just what we're going to have to title him from now on. He is, I mean, just put a little a collar on him with a bell like a cat, you'd hear it every single possible place. There'd be no nook or cranny he hasn't been, I'd say.
Really starting to feel this pressure. Just hiding behind that one box means it's an easy pre-fire for Juicy as he peeks on through.
Oh my god.
And this lead is just extended, completely red. It's once again Novaics versus 5 on the clash. A flawless round for the Knights to close the half. What a performance, 5-1.
Certainly a sign that we expected to see, the Knights up 5-1. However, in doing so, the fashion that they've been able to achieve this dev is probably the most alarming about this score. Not only was it on their attacking side, but it was also probably one of the more convincing halves I've seen.
Yeah, and Knights are not without fault. They succumb to Bandit Juggle from Drex on that Cash CCTV attack. They also struggled when they were trying to get the Thermite charge down on the Moto Hatch on one of the basement defenses. The Kayi Juggle came out from Drex once again. So despite some mistakes, I guess, Knights have just been really, really dominant. And I think while those mistakes might seem pretty glaring, just the fact that Knights always have a plan B and the fact that the round is never over till it's over for Knights. Like they're always happy to play unconventionally if that's what's required. If they can't play the quote-unquote normal or correct siege because they lose a player or lose a strategy, they have another way into it, and that's the mark of a great team.
Certainly they have become... Let's see how Rhythm approach their defense, or rather attack on this defense, I should be saying. You have Josh, who's going to be bandit tricking, or attempting to anyway. Doesn't look like he's going to... Nope, not in time. I love that. very quick and nicely won from Rhythm there. I like the fact that they've also dropped the Selma charge on the left-hand side, so either way they were going to get that wall open, even if it was just for a line of sight.
Bomb has been located.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible to juggle both, but it's very, very difficult. So credit to Rhythm. When it comes to these minigames, they're pretty good. Attack and defense, and now they found the opening pick as well. That's Dino. Gone. Likely a C4 he would have had. And I know everyone's been talking about this on every single broadcast around the world, but I love that you can now see what Dino's doing after he's died. You can see which player he's spectating, or whether he's on camera. Really, really cool to just get that little bit of extra insight into. Obviously, Rainbow is probably the one game, or like the game where you are just as much playing when you're dead as when you are alive.
Yep. Not many like it, and it's pretty damn intense. Let's just be completely honest. Honest and upfront in saying that it is a very intense game of chess, as Raven and I were alluding to last night. Certainly, your job is never done. And as of right now, Sage is looking for the perfect timing to be able to come up and flank on these 4 members that are all construction side right now. And, I mean, you know that they're going to have their flank drones, but it is really about if they're watching them or not, because Sage is going to find some time.
We can see that there's no one currently on cams for Leb and the rest at Rhythm, but, of course, there is a player watching that flank. So Sage scampers away for now. I do wonder, is Rhythm going to really focus on cutting off this flank in front of the kill? I don't think so. It looks like a construction setup here. You got Ghoul actually going in for that plant. Ooh, that gas does a lot of damage before he falls back. He goes deep. It's taken down by Hayward. Here comes the execute, but Knights are finding all the picks.
Yeah, and that's all they really needed. It's just Noveix left in a 1 versus 3. Fuser's not yet planted, but now he's made it possible. That Banshee, though, is going to hinder his movement in such an impactful way. And it does secure Knights the round. They are now on match point.
Good round there for Knights, but again, a lot of great things from Rhythm. I really like their overall strategy. You have one guy out the Kennels breach. Getting that breach open was pretty easy, pretty nonchalant. And then moving on to construction, like clearing that side of the map was fine and dandy as well. They didn't get C4'd when they were moving through Master or Logi. They got the breach open into Cache as well, and they had plenty of time for that execute. 35 seconds left, but just micro things made that slip away. And Knights always ready to receive on the bomb site. The Anchors did an amazing job. You look at something like Ghoul, who tried to get that plant down first, was forced off by the gas, decides to, instead of waiting, actually go deep and try and cross into a deeper plant spot. He actually was punished for that. He was taken down. And I think that was the moment when everything started to slip away for Rhythm. They kind of panicked, overextended, and Knights cleaned up the pieces. So it's a shame that the scoreline is so dominant for Knights right now, because Rhythm have done some great things.
Yeah. They certainly have it, and look, I think that it is just the pedigree of Knights. Honestly, it's not. This is not a look into the team that is Rhythm. This is more a performance from Knights, because
Totally.
You are 100% correct. You can go back and watch the VOD in its entirety. They are 100% winning those mini games, those kind of phases of the round. But it's just when push comes to shove, Knights are one step ahead of them. And this is what we alluded to, though, Dev. It's what we've come to expect from this Knights roster. We are expecting some disgustingly monstrous things from them in 2021. And so far, I believe they're delivering.
Totally. We do have high expectations of the Knights, despite them disappointing in the OCN Grand Final and losing that to Chiefs. They've hit some serious highs, and their team play is just on another level. That's the, if I could point a single factor as to why Knights are beating Rhythm, it's just Knights' team play is just so good. Everything is well coordinated. Every decision is communicated, and they're perfectly in sync. Rhythm, well, I don't want to say they have bad teamwork. It's just not quite on Knights' level. And now in a 6-1, it's going to be a serious trek on Rhythm's attack half as well. It's just such a path before them. And Knights really, you know, they have the confidence to just sit back and relax. They don't feel the need to make a play. Even with this roam setup, you've got Josh over in strip. And we've already talked about the strip roam on this Church and Arsenal defense. You don't have to do much. As long as your teammates aren't all dying on site, you can just kind of sit there and wait until that late round where Rhythm's trying to push the site while also holding the flank. That's when they're most exposed.
And we've seen it multiple times where teams kind of half commit to trying to flush that roam out, or even the fact that, you know, like they chase them and they commit too much. It's just such a dangerous game to play.
Totally is. And Josh really doesn't have to move yet. The earlier he moves, the more likely he'll get caught off. You wonder what form of flank watch we have from Rhythm, because if he does push in, he could get something big. And here's the opening for Rhythm, not only breaching onto that cash wall, but also finding the intro onto Hayward. Here comes Josh, though. No one on cams except for Noveix. I don't believe he's watching into the cams of Bar. This moto hatch being open gives Josh the opportunity, but Knights are falling. This means that the flank is even more important.
He has to convert here. He's already found one. He'll find a second as his teammate does fall. A 1v3. Audacious attempt it's going to need to be. Makes his way back down the main stairs. Can't connect the shots on a Noveix, who just dances around almost like a pillar of reinforced wall. And that was really the big kill that could have opened this up. Too many lines to deal with, too many players to watch for. And it does lead to his death. Rhythm, as we said, there are no easy rounds for the Knights.
That's it. A really good attack there from Rhythm. And I can't really put too much blame on Josh there. You know, it's really hard to play that position. You don't want to flank too early because you're just a free kill. But that round really did sit on Drex's shoulders. He found an amazing 2K to open up that round and stepped up hugely. The breach also really just goes to show, right? Like, if you open up that church wall completely, you're just really eliminating almost all of the positions within church that it's safe for defenders to play. And that's kind of what Rhythm did there. They just opened up every single avenue onto the site and held their guns up. When they eventually made a play, like, Knights are so exposed. Unfortunately, Josh's flank wasn't as well timed as he would have liked as well.
No, but it is a huge takeaway for the Knights that there was also a chance of them to take that round. And sometimes it can come down to timing. We know how much that affects any FPS game, but especially Siege. You can look away for half a second, you can move an inch to your right and it can just be to your own demise. But with a 4-round buffer, I mean, Knights would just be able to pretty much play this like a scrim for the next 2 rounds and not really have to worry. They could really try some innovative things, even though if you know Knights, you know Dino, you know Juicy, they will just want to get this over and done with. They won't want to give any kind of room for Rhythm to even think about coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing about Knights compared to like a team like Chiefs or Order is Knights are well renowned for just being deadpan, like really, really kind of calm. They're not necessarily super lively, though we did see that in the pre-show with the cameras. They're just known for being almost robotic in the way that they maintain their emotion and their composure, especially in pressure scenarios. Of course, they do have some pressure off their shoulders at the moment with the round buffers. But as Rhythm starts to creep back, they will start to feel a little bit of pressure, but knowing Knights, it won't affect them.
No, it's a good, I think the best way of saying it is they are systematic and they are methodical. So they have exactly what they need in place. And it is just the big and terrifying thing about the Knights is just what they can really achieve. Now, again, Rhythm have won these mini games left, right, and center. I mean, they're not really being contested for any of this hard breach. So, I mean, it's job done, but they're doing it in really effective time.
Every single wall that Rhythm have wanted to breach has been breached. And now that they found the opening pick as well, though traded, does assist them somewhat in mounting a push. And here it comes in through public bathroom.
Yeah, but Haywood is there holding. He'll find himself a 2K, and that might just be what Knights need. Leb and Noveix, unfortunately, leaves Leb to his own devices. And this is, oh man, a near impossible task. He's getting peeked left, right, and center, but they are giving him isolated one-on-ones. You can see instantly they retreat and play a little bit more passive, and that's what they wanted. Right into the open arms. Once again, such a great performance from the Knights. A 7-2 victory over Rhythm.
One of the best teams in OCE has come through in OCN. An incredibly dominant performance from the Knights, really showing their true colors. Standing tall with pride as they roar. Great game there. Look at Juicy, bottom of the scoreboard with 12 kills. Playing the Thermite support as well. Real legend there. We're going to have a chat to him as well later on. But that is a great opening game in OCN for the Knights.
Yep. And I mean, look, we are going to ask the question, but there is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that their objective is to take the OCN title. It's to rip it away from the reigning champions, the Chiefs, who fortunately enough took them down in that grand final. But definitely after revenge here, two huge statements that have been made back to back, first by Chiefs and now by Knights. This may well be one of the more interesting storylines that we'll be able to follow for, you know, the Knights' progression into 2021, and the fact that now they are really considered one of, if not the best team in APAC.
That's it. They're showing that not only in APAC South, but here in OCN. It can be incredibly challenging to juggle two leagues at once. Yep. Trying to play against more teams. Like, I was having a chat to Katter about it. I've chatted to him tons of times about it because it's something that is really a big deal to these OCN teams that play in two leagues. Not only are they having to learn to play against the teams in APAC South, but also the teams in OCN, right? And there's different play styles that they have to combat. It just means you've got twice as many matches a week as a team like Rhythm as well. And for Knights to just show that even when they make little mistakes, even when their hard breach and counter hard breach game might not be as strong as Rhythm, it doesn't matter, because individually and as a team, these guys are the best in the region.
They certainly are, and they're showing it too. Juicy back out on top in fine form. That is absolutely absurd. Leb, who might have had a quieter night, you know, you can definitely look and pinpoint some of the rounds that Rhythm were losing just by pure mistakes. But honestly, Dev, I still think that Rhythm gave Knights a good run for their money. It is, however, I said it earlier, it's just the pedigree of Knights at the moment. They are just, I don't know, they're undefeatable almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, as we head towards the end of the season, we will eventually get to see the Chiefs-Knights game, which is going to be very, very juicy. I'm very, very excited to see that one. I think both teams will be incredibly challenged by that game. But, you know, for now, these teams also have to make sure they don't leak any points to the rest of the league. And, you know, we've seen Rhythm in the past be that one team that, despite always kind of residing in the bottom four, steals points away from the top four and very rarely exits a game without at least the 1 point from pushing overtime.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that wasn't the case this time around for Rhythm. They're struggling a little bit, which is funny because like we've had so many good things to say about them. I don't want to point to like the roster change, bringing in BB for Supremacist being like a really, really bad thing. I think that, you know, BB seemed fine. I think that the kind of consistent players for Rhythm, like, you know, Drex, I think he had a great game. But Knights were just on another level, man. Like, the team play, and they're just stepping up massively. And it gives me so much more confidence now that 2 days in a row, we've seen unbelievably good matches from these guys.
Yep, and I mean, look, we'll go ahead and talk to Juicy because I think that's the best way to unravel what we've just seen. Juicy, my friend, it's always good to see you. I feel like we see your face more than anyone else's, but a 7-2 performance on your first day of OCN, that one's got to feel good.
Yeah, feels good to come out the gate strong this season. I think we had a bit of a shaky start in stage one, and let a couple of losses get through. But yeah, feels good to, even though a couple of mistakes tonight, it was, I don't know, felt alright. It's good to get a dub.
It's great to see you again, man. It's been a while, and you guys are clearly in the break after the APAC playoffs. Put in a lot of work. You've come out of the gates really, really strong in both Apex South and OCN now. I'm kind of just getting an impression of how do you feel the team is going at the moment in terms of form? Is it perhaps too daring to say that this is the strongest that you've ever been?
I don't think it's too daring. I think, as weeks go by, like, we get stronger and stronger. When we came back from the break, it's the first long break that we'd had in ages, considering there was a couple of things that came up each time we tried to have a break before. So a couple of us were a bit burnt out, and Break did as well, and we came back and started practicing after SI. Learned a couple of things either from watching or what we thought of over the break, and came back and just put it in practice, and I don't know, it seems to be getting better each week so far, so yeah.
I'd love to ask about Rhythm because, from what we can only see so much. We know that you guys love to have a bit of yarn in the game. They seem to be winning a lot of the mini games. They were doing incredibly well with things like bandit tricking and getting walls open, but it also didn't look like on your defense you were really contesting a lot of that. Is that something that you were kind of leaning into with Rhythm's playstyle?
Not in particular. I think we honestly just had a couple of moments in game where we just egged out a little bit and had to rely on gun skill to get out of the problems that we gave ourselves. So the round where I got bandit tricked twice, that was a bit of a moment. But I don't know, when we work with what we've got, we just wanted to play. Honestly, like try a couple of things that you want, and on defense either have a little bit of a run around and see what happens. But nothing like too particular.
Dev?
I wish it was that simple when I was playing. So it's like, yeah, we kind of messed up, didn't get the wall open, but that's all right. We just killed them all anyway. I think that it's fantastic to see you guys back in form. Had a great playoffs, had a great start in both the leagues that you play in. But of course, elephant in the room, you guys did not win OCN. We haven't really had a chat to you about that yet. You guys lost the grand final tonight. How are you feeling about this season? Do you think that you've got it to take that championship back off of them?
Yeah, I don't know. If I didn't think that we had it, I probably wouldn't be playing, really. I don't know. It's one of those things you got to have confidence in. What I think they played well, but always like we lost, and we got to go back and look at what we did wrong and improve that. And for this season coming in, we know what to fix, and I don't know. I think we'll have it. We're in contending with them, so I don't know. Just wait and see what ends up happening at the end of the season and go from there. I make it sound so simple, but I don't know.
I was going to say, you're far too humble and far too honest. It doesn't seem real juicy. But look, mate, we won't take up any more of your time. We appreciate you jumping on, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
All right. Thanks for having me. All right. Catch you, boys.
Really, honestly, like, he just makes it so blasé. Oh, like, we just don't get walls open, so we shoot him in the head, and we win the round. Like, what?
He's so chill in the interview as well. Like, no pressure. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, like, will we beat Chiefs? Yeah, probably. Like, we'll find out. Like, yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think we'd beat them. I feel like that is what they're like in the server as well. They're just like, yeah, you got both my thermite charges. Yeah, Josh, just go up red and kill them all. Like, yeah, we'll get it. It does make me more excited for that game. 2 weeks time. Yeah. We're gonna have the Chiefs versus Knights game. That's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, Playday 4 is what that's locked in for. However, we're still on Playday 1, but we only have one more match to go. We'll be back after a short break, so don't go anywhere.
By attackers. 15 seconds left. Attackers locate the bomb. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds left. Attackers have located a bomb. Attackers will drop the bomb. Attackers are activating.